Hey Internet, today we're going to be talking about the palette knife. A lot of times I see artists skipping over the palette knife when they're in the art store, but I think it's one of the best tools to have in your tool shed, mainly because it's great for mixing, which is the purpose of it. What is a palette knife? Well, basically it kind of is what it sounds like it is. It's a knife designed with a handle to be used for your palette. Historically, palette knives were used for mixing colors and cleaning palettes, but today a lot of people are starting to create entire paintings with the palette knife. So now manufacturers are creating palette knives in all different shapes and sizes and materials. So you'll find palette knives that are really small. This one's about, I'd say, small to medium size. And then you'll find palette knives that are really long, up to a foot long. So it really kind of depends on what your goal is in a painting. Palette knives can come in different materials as well. This one is a metal palette knife. I like this one because it's really flexible. The metal palette knives are, I'd say, really durable and, like I said, flexible. You can get a plastic palette knife. It's a lot thicker, it's a lot more, it's durable, but it's really thick and less flexible. This is why I like using the metal palette knives. It may cost you, $1 more or something, but I think it's really worth it. I had this one for about a year or two, and it's my go-to palette knife I use for a lot of my paintings and backgrounds. So palette knives can be used in your paintings basically anywhere and everywhere. I use mine for my backgrounds, but you can use yours to lay down layers of paintings. Sometimes because you're using a palette knife, it's going to be really thick, so you have to take some time for it. So how do you use a palette knife to paint? Well, basically you pick up paint and you can smear it on your canvas. I like to go directly on my palette knife with my paint, so I use a tube if it's a solid color, and I squirt the tube directly onto the palette knife because I can get a long, consistent stroke when I'm painting. So next time you're in an art store, make sure you take a visit to the palette knife section and pick up a palette knife for yourself. They come in all different shapes and sizes, like I said. So get one that fits you and just experiment, because that's what it's all about, experimenting, seeing what works for you, what doesn't work for you, because you may find that a tool like a palette knife in a different shape may give you something that you really like that you weren't even looking for. So definitely check that out. Peace.